Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regular monthly meeting of the Board of Commissioners held for the purpose of transacting the general business of the Township. Today's date is November 14, 2018. The meeting is being held in the Springfield Township building. Please stand and join the Board of Commissioners in a moment of silent reflection honoring the servicemen and women who place themselves in harm's way in order to help preserve our safety. Thank you. Please remain standing and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this point, I would entertain a motion dispensing with the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting as written and recorded in the official minute book of the Township.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Please record a unanimous vote. We are in full complement tonight up here. The Board of Commissioners conducted an executive session meeting on November 12, 2018 as part of the regularly scheduled workshop meeting on that date to discuss one personnel matter. Later this evening, the Board of Commissioners will conduct a public hearing on an ordinance enacting a local service tax in Springfield Township for 2019. Any questions or comments related to the ordinance should be held until the public hearing is conducted. At this point, I would like to invite Charlie Santman of the Flourtown Fire Company to join Commissioner Shum at the front of the room.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. Santman. Mr. Shaw.
They know each other.
I know, it's twice in, what, a month? So I'd like to move forward resolution number 1460, a resolution honoring a life of service by Charles Salmon as a member of the Flourtown Fire Company, Springfield Township, Montgomery County. Whereas Mr. Salmon is a LaSalle College graduate and United States Marine Corps veteran, and whereas Mr. Salmon and his wife Rosemary raised 3 children in Springfield Township and are now grandparents to 10 grandchildren and great-grandparents to 2 great-grandchildren. And whereas Mr. Salmon joined the Flourtown Fire Company in 1965, faithfully serving the residents of Flourtown and Springfield Township for 53 years. So I'm not even that old. Whereas Charles Salmon served as the secretary of the Springfield Township Firefighters Relief Association for 33 years. And whereas Mr. Salmon has been professionally published twice, History of the Flourtown Fire Company in celebration of the 100th anniversary of the fire company, and the end of an era, a history and demise of the great Flourtown Fair. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners does hereby recognize, commend, and wholeheartedly thank Charles Salmon for over 50 years of dedicated service to the Springfield Township community and extend best wishes to Mr. Salmon and his family in the future. That's my motion.
Okay, stop. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay.
Unanimously adopted this 14th day of November 2018.
All right.
Just stand here one second. George and Chris. And your president's not here though, right, George?
He's not.
Okay. But I'd like to get, you're the president of the Relief Association and George is the chief of the Flourtown Fire Company. Just for a picture, Mike?
Where are you? Right here, right next to you, buddy. Okay. Wow. All right, look at Mike. That's the one that's going to be public.
Oh.
Time for a revote.
Hanging, not set it on the
Holy God, hold that thing. Yeah, you got a big lot to do tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you for the commissioners for this time. Excuse me, I got cough and everything else when you get this. But thank you, this is quite an honor for anybody, but particularly me, a lifelong citizen of Springfield Township. And
Thank you again. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Just as a point of order, if you want to file out, we won't be offended. You're certainly welcome to stay. This is a public meeting. At this point, we move into our first public comment period. I'll read the statement and I'll clarify it. The board is now open to comments or questions from the public. The board draws particular attention to those items listed on the agenda this evening. Please be advised that once the committee reports begin, the board can no longer accept questions from the floor. At the conclusion of the committee reports, public comments will once again be accepted. However, official action on those issues listed on the agenda will have already taken place. We will have 3 public comment periods. We will have this one now, and you're all welcome to speak. We will, towards the end of the meeting, we will have a public hearing on the local services tax, and there will be an opportunity, if you have a question on that, to give public comment then. And then when the meeting's, at the end of the meeting, when we've done all our business, we will have a final public comment period. But if you have any public comment now, particularly on an agenda item, this would be the appropriate time. Just stand, state your name and address.
Giuseppe Monticelli, Giuseppie, or Joseph Monticelli, Monticelli. I'm from Ward 72, Honorable Commissioner Graham's ward. Good evening, Honorable Commissioners and Sir
Hi.
President and Sir City Manager. I have some comments about some agenda items tonight. I'm making my comments tonight pursuant to the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act. My comment first is going to be about agenda number 7, which is the subdivision over by Heritage Farms 2 on 24, 25, and 26 Ronald Circle. It's going to be the 3-lot residential development decision that you're going to be hosting tonight. My comment on that would be, I am not in objection for that. I very much so support that decision of being passed tonight. The comment I would say about that is that the township, throughout this process, if it is approved tonight, the township here needs to make sure that while this property, while these 3 residential lots are being built, they need to go ahead and make sure that all ordinances and all accommodations and all deals that were made are being followed correctly. As you know, we want some infraction going on as this is being built. But besides from that, I'm full in favor of this. No problem.
Great.
My second public comment and final comment would be about agenda item number 13. Police officer appointments, fulfilling those 2 positions, vacancies. I hope they're vacancies. At least I've been told that.
Yes.
I would say to that is, I would hope that this board finds 2 qualifying candidates for being a public service officer, officer of the peace, and I would hope that they picked one that is appropriate and that would have a outstanding score on their civil service tests. This is confirmation of what I said last month about the same position. You got to make sure that they're great, you know, they are they were going to be upholding the Constitution, they're going to be upholding the Pennsylvania Constitution, they're going to be upholding the ordinances set before the township. That would be the conclusion of my public comment tonight on agenda items.
Okay, let me just address that second point. Maybe I'm telling a tale out of school, but I'm going to do it anyway. The way the selection works, as you know, is they do take the oral and written tests, and they are ranked. And they come to us and ranked based on their test scores. And then we are allowed to move them out of rank, but we don't like to do that for just the reason that you've got an objective test unless there's a good reason. There often is a good reason. But in this case, the two we'll pick are actually the two highest ranked
Yeah, they're going
ones.
to be their category.
But if they weren't, it's because somebody really wowed us. I mean, it might be a good thing, but
Okay,
but
gotcha.
that just,
But the two
we
vacant-
don't typically announce that.
The
but
two
these-
vacancies are going to be the starting position of a patrol officer. Is that correct?
They'll be the entry-level positions,
Entry
yes.
level. Yep, okay.
Great.
That's
Thank
all.
you.
Thank you, Sir President.
Do we have any other public comment at this point? Going once, going twice. Okay. Now we move to the committee reports, and I will start out as the chairman of the Internal Affairs and Library Committees. Starting with, let me go to the agenda. We've already done number one. Starting with the second. The bill listing, I move that the Board of Commissioners approve the October check reconciliation in the amount of $1,609,461.28 and the November bill listing in the amount of $1,047,098.79. That is my motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Please record a unanimous vote. Next, we get to the budget meeting schedule. The budget presentation will be this evening, momentarily. The budget hearing and budget adoption will be at our December business meeting, which is on December 12th at 7:30 in this room, which is in the Springfield Township building. And when I said momentarily, I meant momentarily. The next item is the budget presentation. So I have a statement to read on the budget. Springfield Township Board of Commissioners proposes a balanced operating budget for 2019 of $17,469,916 with a real estate tax of 4.441 mils and an earned income tax of 1%. To summarize the impact on the typical taxpayer as a result of the 2019 budget projections, the taxpayer will realize a $38.94 real estate tax increase and an $8.58 refuse service fee increase. In years 2006 and 7, the real estate taxes were reduced from past years, and the real estate tax rate for 2008 through 12 remained unchanged. 2013, there was a modest increase in taxes, followed by a reduction in 2014. 2015, real estate taxes were increased but held steady again in 2016. 2017, real estate taxes were increased by $50.10, and this year, by $44.55. The increases both years were due to debt service payments, contractual increases to employee wages and benefits, and insurance premiums. The typical household in Springfield Township with a $175,400 property assessment will pay $778.95 in real estate taxes in 2019. This is a 5.3% increase in real estate taxes, principally due to an increase of debt service related to the municipal campus renovation project, contributions to the volunteer fire companies and emergency medical service provider, utility and building maintenance costs, and contractual increases to employee wages and benefits. The 2016 refuse service fee was the same as in 2015, but the 2017 fee was increased by $10.13, or a discounted annual rate of $202.37. In 2018, the refuse fee was increased by $3.19 due to an increase in the waste disposal fee and the amount of waste collected. The 2019 discounted annual fee for refuse service will be $214.14. 2019, the resource recovery plant where the solid waste are converted to energy is increasing its disposal fees to the township by $1.14 per ton. In addition, the average monthly cost to process and market single-stream recyclables is projected to increase by $5.83 per ton in 2019. The amount of household refuse collected by the township continues to increase, while the recycling tonnage is decreasing. The market for sorted recyclable materials has also been negatively impacted by restrictions imposed by the Chinese government banning the import of certain recyclable materials. The township will continue to fund its general budgetary obligations through traditional revenue sources such as the real estate tax, earned income tax, real estate transfer tax, mercantile and business privilege tax, licenses and permits, fines, and departmental earnings. However, in 2019, a local service tax will be enacted whereby individuals employed within Springfield Township will pay $1 per week or $52 annually. Those who do not earn more than $12,000 annually are exempt from the tax. The 2019 preliminary budget will be made available for inspection in the office of the Township Manager, 1510 Paper Mill Road, Winmore, and in the Township Library, 8900 Hawthorne Lane, Winmore, beginning at 5 p.m. on November 16th. The 2019 preliminary budget will also be posted to the Township website on or before the above date. Summary copies of the budget are also available upon request. The Board of Commissioners will accept questions and comments on the budget at their workshop meeting on December 10, 2018 at 7 o'clock, and again as part of the budget hearing and budget adoption on December 12, 2018 at 7:30. All aforementioned meetings will be held in the Springfield Township Building, 1510 Paper Mill Road, Winmore. That's the budget statement, and then just one clarification about the local service tax. That is something we've talked about for years. It's in the budget. It's been in the budget before, but it's actually never been passed. If it doesn't get passed, then the increase and nothing else changes, then the real estate tax has to go up. I think it's about $23 a household is what that's, a couple percent. Tonight, what we'll be doing with this hearing is enacting a new tax is a little complicated, as it should be. We need to give the state more than the 2 weeks' notice before the year starts that enacting it on December 12th would be. So what we need to do, if we are to enact that tax, is pass it tonight, and then it would be incorporated in the budget, and that way we'd meet the deadlines to be able to have it go into effect January 1st. I point that out because last year, I believe, we did that. We passed it at this meeting, but then we kind of unpassed it at the next meeting. So tonight, our decision will be, and again, this is lower in the agenda, our decision will really be whether to close the door on it or whether to leave the door open. That's what that discussion, it's a little weird because it's kind of asymmetrical. But it is in the budget. These numbers reflect that. So that is the end of the budget statement. Moving on to the next item, that's not mine. Correct. So that completes my report, and now I turn to, go back to my first page, the Chairman of the Public Works and Facilities Committee, Commissioner Shum.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have one quick item this evening. I move the Board of Commissioners authorize the sale of the following used vehicles through the Municipal Electronic Public Auction. One 2014 Chevrolet Tahoe, one 2007 Chevrolet Tahoe, and one 2004 International Refuse Truck. That's my motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Please record a unanimous vote.
Thank you, sir. Concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Shum. We move to the Chairman of the Community Development Committee, Commissioner Standish.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have 3 items tonight. So the first item concerns the Stepawicks subdivision. Stepawicks subdivision plan is actually a reverse subdivision or a consolidation plan whereby the owners plan to join in common deed 823 and 827 Southampton Avenue. The applicants plan to demolish the existing dwelling, garage, and driveway 823 Southampton Avenue to construct an addition to the existing dwelling at 827 Southampton Avenue. So I move that the Board of Commissioners approve the final lot consolidation plan of Aaron and Rebecca Stepelwicks, 823-827 Southampton Avenue, prepared by ProTrack Engineering, Inc., dated July 23rd, 2018, consisting of a one-sheet plan set. Plan approval is conditioned upon the following. 1, all matters contained in a letter dated October 9th, 2018, from the Office of the Township Engineer to the zoning officer being resolved prior to the recording of the plan. And 2, the dwelling, garage, and driveway at 823 Southampton Avenue being demolished prior to the recording of the plans. That is my motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Please record a unanimous vote.
Okay, so next, this concerns the Heritage Farms 2 subdivision. The Heritage Farms 2 subdivision plan is a 3-lot residential subdivision. The existing parcel contains 0.55 acres of land. A single-family dwelling has already been demolished at the site. I move that the Board of Commissioners approve the preliminary final subdivision and land development plan for Heritage Farms 2, prepared by Tang Solutions, LLC, dated July 26, 2018, last revised October 9, 2018, which consists of a 9-sheet plan set and a stormwater management narrative prepared by Tang Solutions, LLC, dated July 26, 2018, last revised October 9, 2018. The plan approval includes the following waivers or partial waivers to the requirements of the subdivision and land development ordinance. Number 1, 95 dash, is that 11? Or
11.
11.1 I.
That's an I.
11.I 2B states that no less than 1 street tree shall be provided for each 35 feet of street length or portion thereof. 9 street trees are required and 7 street trees are being provided. Number 2, 95-11.I 11C states that 2 new street trees shall be planted for each 1 tree removed with a caliper of 3 inches or greater. 42 replacement trees are required, 38 replacement trees are being provided. Plan approval is also subject to the condition upon all matters contained in a letter dated November 12, 2018, from the Office of the Township Engineer to the zoning officer being resolved to the satisfaction of the Township Engineer prior to the recording of the plans. That is my motion.
Wow, that's a long motion.
Yeah.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Please record a unanimous vote.
Okay, then my third item concerns planning assistance contract. I move that the Board of Commissioners authorize the execution of a 3-year planning assistance contract for the Montgomery County Planning Commission for years 2019 through 2021. The fee for services is split 50-50 between Montgomery County and Springfield Township. 50% share for the township is, in 2019, $12,348, 2020, $12,474, and in 2021, $12,600. The Montgomery County Planning Commission works directly with the Township Planning Commission, Zoning Hearing Board upon request, and Township staff, and provides reviews of proposed subdivision and land development plans, zoning code amendments, and amendments to the subdivision and land development ordinance. That is my motion.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Please record a unanimous vote.
Thank you. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Standish. We move to the Chairman of the Cultural and Environmental Resources Committee, Commissioner Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm giving the recycling report and also information and a motion on curb mite clutter. The recycling report that is that during the month of October 2018, Springfield Township residents recycled 223.6 tons of material with a householder participation rate of 83.4%. The net cost for the month was $16,959.52. That concludes my report. My announcement is regarding the Curb My Clutter. America Recycles Day was started in 1997 by the National Recycling Coalition and is declared each year on November the 5th by presidential proclamation. On this date, millions of people across the United States take part in America Recycles Day, a day which was created to raise awareness about the recycling and the purchasing of recycled products. In order to celebrate the 21st anniversary of America Recycles Day, the Board of Commissioners of Springfield Township is pleased to announce their intention to partner with Curb My Clutter, a service that enables residents to easily schedule free collection of unwanted recyclable items such as clothing, shoes, household linens, computers, and other electric waste via text messaging. In order to schedule a collection, the resident will need only to text pickup to 215-608-2379 and schedule your pickup date. So therefore, my motion, I move that the Board of Commissioners of Springfield Township authorize the execution of a 12-month pilot program service agreement with Curb My Clutter, LLC, to provide for the curbside collection of household, textiles, and electronic waste. That is my motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
I just have a couple comments. One is, this is exciting. It's nice that this will happen. I want to be clear that we don't have to pay for this. This is a wash. So we're not. It's nice to offer this benefit, and we need to learn more about. If we find out where the stuff's going, we've done our due diligence, but we want to do it as a pilot. But I'm excited that we're doing this. It's also an off-agenda item because we discussed this 2 months ago and we went through negotiations, but as of Monday, it wasn't ready to go, so we didn't put it on the agenda, and then the agreement got finalized. So we just figured the sooner the better. Let people try this out and see if it works. It's exciting. That's any other public comment? All in favor, please? Sure, go ahead.
And not only is it not going to cost the township anything, but it has the potential to bring in revenue to the township as well. So I think once information on the program is sent out to residents and you see how it works, basically all the items that we're able to recycle through the township, whether they're electronics, whether they're clothing, there's an opportunity for the township to get a percentage of the revenue that generates back in terms of a revenue share program with the program itself. So it actually might have the opportunity to make some money for the township as well.
Yep, great.
And Mr. President, the public is going to receive some kind of notification about how the program works?
We'll send out an email blast on that. Do we do a mailing too, Don?
There's door hangers.
There'll be door hangers so that they will go around and put things on your doors. That way people who aren't on our email list can learn about this. We will certainly all try and spread the word. It's exciting. Any other comments or questions? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Please record a unanimous vote.
So my third comment is regarding Ordinance 958. For the past 2 years, Springfield Township has been working with 11 other local municipalities and 4 wastewater treatment plants to develop a plan for an alternative total maximum daily load for the Wissahickon Creek watershed in order to cooperatively improve the water quality of the Wissahickon Creek. The work of the partnership is not complete, and therefore the partnership wishes to extend all intergovernmental agreements associated with the effort. Therefore, I move that the Board of Commissioners authorize the advertisement of advertisement of ordinance number 958, an ordinance authorizing continued participation in the Wissahickon Creek watershed partnership to create a plan for an alternative total maximum daily load for the Wissahickon Creek watershed. That is my motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor,
Well,
please.
the only comment I will make, Mr. President, is, and the other board members know, I believe, I've been serving on this board as the Springfield representative for the last 2 years. We have made an immense amount of progress scientifically and hopefully legally in preparing this master plan, which hopefully will be accepted by the EPA and the DEP in order to continue to see improvements in the water quality of the Wissahickon Creek. It's a very good group. They work very hard. We're very close to the end, but we're not quite there. We'd hope we would have been there by now, but we're not quite there. This is the reason for the extension.
And Commissioner Wilson,
Yes.
are you able right now to elaborate on what adoption of that plan will look like for residents, or what it will mean for the township, or is it too soon for that?
Well, we as the township file, as every township has to file, a report with the DEP regarding this maximum daily load. The problem with the Wissahickon is that there's too much stuff flowing into it, and it basically has impaired the water quality that no longer allows all this species of invertebrates and fish and everything else to enjoy the clean waterways, and impairs the water quality, which eventually goes downstream and ends up in the Schuylkill, which then ends up being drawn into the Philadelphia Water Department and processed. So the intent is for all no one, because there are so many municipalities that service that contribute to the problem. The only real way to correct the problem effectively, scientifically, is to have everybody on the same page, everybody reading from the same playbook, and that's what this group is attempting to do, and not only reading from the same playbook, but then presenting that playbook to the EPA and saying, look, guys, this is the best we can do. We collectively have gotten together. We're collectively committed to making improvements so that the creek is no longer as severely impaired as it is today. So it'll be a very, very long process. We're talking about probably implementation period of 10 to 20 years, and it'll require all the townships to contribute to local water improvement projects that will then contribute to the greater project of cleaning up the Wissahickon. So, did I answer the question?
Thank you.
Yeah, and one further clarification. The impetus to all this was the way the federal law works was the EPA came down and said, this is what you have to do to keep the particulates down, and it was prohibitively expensive. So a group of townships, including us, went back and said, we can reach your objectives, but we need to work together, and we need to figure out the best practices and really use science to get at a much more reasonable cost to where you want to be. And they granted us the time to, a few years, it's already been a couple of years, to put all this together, and the group's been really functional and has a lot of high horsepower thinkers in there. So they're trying to solve the problem in the most efficient way. And that's the impetus, and that's why you wonder, like, well, how does something this complicated get started? It gets started because there was a very, very big number potentially hanging over all of us, and it doesn't really make sense for Springfield to have one plan and White Marsh to have another, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why, and Peter's been working very hard doing that. I guess we're ready to vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Please record a unanimous vote.
That concludes my reports, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Wilson. We move to the Chairman of the Parks and Recreation Resources Committee, Commissioner Graham.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have one motion this evening. I move that the Board of Commissioners adopt Resolution Number 1461, a resolution authorizing an application to the Keystone Communities Program for a project known as the Beischer Softball Fields Project. The Beischer Softball Fields Project is the construction of a second softball field at the existing softball field site on Beischer Avenue in order to accommodate additional youth softball opportunities for the. That is my motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments?
I have one comment,
Sure.
Mr. President. I just would like to commend our Director of the Parks and Recs, Charlie Carrabba, for his hard work and due diligence in making sure that not only this, but also all of the other Parks and Recs programs that are within Springfield Townships. He works hard despite some little health problems and also some personal hardships in his family. And I just would like to publicly commend Charlie Carrabba for his hard work that he does for this township. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Please record a unanimous vote.
That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Graham. We move to the Co-Chairman of the Public Safety Committee, Commissioner Maxwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a few items this evening. The first is the Shade Tree Commission. I move that the Board of Commissioners appoint Ann Breen of Ardmore Avenue to fill an unexpired term of service as a member of the Springfield Township Shade Tree Commission. The unexpired term of service is due to expire July 13th, 2019. That is my motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please signify.
Quick comment, sorry. Just from the meeting the three individuals who expressed interest to be a part of the Shade Tree Commission last night, or on Monday night, rather, I just want to say that I was wildly impressed with all three of them. They were all three very well suited for the position.
Thank you. Any other comments? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Please record a unanimous vote.
Next is the police officer appointments. First one, I move that the Board of Commissioners extend a conditional offer of employment to Gage Wellington of Lansdale, PA, as a probationary police officer with the Springfield Township Police Department. The conditional offer of employment is conditioned upon Mr. Wellington successfully passing medical and psychological examinations. The earliest date of employment shall be December 10th, 2018. That is my motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Please record a unanimous vote.
Next, I move that the Board of Commissioners extend a conditional offer of employment to Thomas Sweeney of Roslyn, PA, as a probationary police officer with the Springfield Township Police Department. The conditional offer of employment is conditional upon Mr. Sweeney successfully completing PA Act 120 training and passing medical and psychological examinations. The earliest date of employment shall be January 7th, 2019. That is my motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
One comment, just because it can't be said enough, that we interviewed 4 candidates and they were all great. We're lucky to keep seeing good candidates. Any other questions and comments?
I'd just like to make one comment and reiterate the interviews on Monday night, and just to say how extremely impressed I was with the 4 candidates we interviewed.
Great. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Please record a unanimous vote.
That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Maxwell. We move to the Chairman of the Zoning Committee, Commissioner Cobb.
Thank you, Mr. President. There will be a public hearing will be held on the following petitions on Monday, November 26th, 2018 at 7 p.m. at the Springfield Township Building. Edward and Melissa Gallagher of 503 Willow Road in Orland, PA, are seeking variances from Section 114-64.b to reduce the side yard setback from 10 feet to 3 feet and to reduce the aggregate side yard setback from 25 feet to 13 feet in order to construct a roof over an existing patio. This property is located in the B Residence District. All interested persons may appear to be heard. And that's my announcement, Mr. President.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Cobb. At this point, I would accept a motion to recess from the November 2018 business meeting and convene a public hearing to receive comment on a proposed ordinance to enact a local service tax for 2019.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. So now we're in the hearing, and before I read the statement, which is as long as the last one I read, let me reiterate. What's happening here is if we vote on this, which we probably will, we can't vote during the hearing, we will go back into the meeting to vote. If we vote it down, it's done till next budget cycle. If we vote in favor of it, then it can either be undone or stay in the budget. So this is a question of whether to continue it, and the budget will get figured out in 4 weeks at our next meeting. So that's the landscape. Now I'm going to read the official stuff here. Purpose of hearing: the public hearing held in compliance with the Pennsylvania Local Tax Enabling Act 551 of 1965 as amended, to consider for adoption an ordinance levying a local service tax of $52 annually on all persons engaging in an occupation with a primary place of employment within Springfield Township. The legal requirements associated with the public hearing procedure have been met by publishing a notice of the public hearing and the proposed ordinance in the, it says Springfield Sun here, Ambler Gazette, right, Don?
Yes. Old habits.
I know. In the Ambler Gazette issues of October 7, 14, and 21, 2018. Copies of the full text of the ordinance were available in the Township Manager's office. The Board of Commissioners is conducting a public hearing on the proposed ordinance at this time and will consider adoption of the ordinance as part of the regular business meeting later this evening. The ordinance, an ordinance amending Chapter 100 of the Code of the Township of Springfield to provide for a local services tax on the privilege of engaging in occupations within the township, limits at the rate of $52 per year on each such engagement, to provide for its levy and collection, to impose upon employers the duty of collecting said tax and remitting and paying over the same of the duly appointed tax receiver, to confer and impose powers and duties on the duly appointed tax receiver, and to impose penalties and provide for a $12,000 per year low-income exemption. Comments at this point? We are open to any comments from the audience. Do we have any? Yes, Giuseppe, come on down.
Giuseppe Monticelli, Ward 72. Would this apply for someone in the township who's self-employed?
Yes, if you're, what kind of yes. But you have to make $12,000 before it applies.
Okay.
And you have to be self-employed in the township. Some people might have an office elsewhere.
Gotcha. Therefore, I would strongly object to this being passed tonight. I am strongly objecting to that.
Okay.
That would be the conclusion of my comments for this hearing.
Great, thank you. Do we have any other public comment at this time? At this point, I open it up to comments from the commissioners. Does anybody want to go? I'll give the little civic speech. We've been through this for 12 years. I start out by saying I support the tax, but I've never prevailed. It's a simple tax. It's $1 a week for people who work here. What that does is, as simple finance works, this has nothing to do with spending. We figure out what we're going to spend in the budget, and then we figure out how we're going to pay for it. So this is just a question of how do we pay for it. If we move the savings, the $150,000 to $250,000 that this generates would come out of property tax. So it provides some property tax relief. So the question is, well, who bears the burden of that? A chunk of that is borne by people who don't live in the township. So that's kind of a windfall for the voters of the township. The logic behind the tax is that people who are here during the day and working are using the police and fire and township services more than others, so it makes sense to have them pay, whether they live here or whether they don't. The beneficiaries of this are homeowners who don't work in the township because they save. It's the first year we only get 3/4 benefits because you pay in arrears. It's about $20 a house per year, and that goes up by about a third, so you're talking 27 or so benefit the next year. Now, obviously, if you live here, and if you work here, that's $50, $52 you'd pay. None of that's a big deal over the course of a year, but it's important. Two other factors is that means that people that are retired, it's a slight subsidy to the homeowners. It's good. We like to see people be able to age in place. It takes a little bit of pressure. Now, $20 a year isn't probably enough to make you move out or stay. But from a theoretical standpoint, I like that. And then finally, the question is, well, how does this impact us? Everything we do, we're really competing with the other townships. We want to be the best place for people to live and work and settle. Pretty much all the townships around here have it and have had it for a long time. I think the only ones in Montgomery County that don't have it are way in the west side of the county. There was one that was a little more recent. Was that Upper Dublin or one of the Gwyned's that a few years ago?
Yeah, I think
But even 12 years ago when we were talking about it, if you look at the map, they all have it. So it's not like we're putting ourselves at some competitive advantage. From a paperwork standpoint, it's a simple thing to do because it's filed with your earned income tax return. It's just, you just have to record how many people are there for how many weeks. That's something you put into your unemployment return anyway. It's not too complicated to figure out your head count. So that's just my thought. I don't feel very strongly about it because I think it's kind of minor. It's a little more symbolic. But to me, the biggest thing of all those arguments is there is a windfall, and it's a windfall in the order of 80 to 100,000, or I don't know exactly what the number is, that we get from people that come in here from outside and that we don't have to pay, and I like that. Those are my thoughts. Anybody else want to jump on?
I just have one comment, Mr. President. As I stated before in our prior messages, I'm not in favor of this because for those residents that work for the township and live within the township, it is a double hit for those residents. I just am not in agreement of taxing those that are working so diligently for us and choose to live within the township will get hit doubly by this tax. So for that reasoning, I am not going to be in favor of this particular tax.
Okay. Other comments?
I have a comment. Of course, the flip side of that is that if it's not a separate tax, then it will go into the general millage and everybody would pay for it. So I myself have been paying this tax because I work in Abington Township, and they enacted this tax, I think, about 5 or 6 years ago. And as you pointed out, there are most communities surrounding us already have this tax. So, you know, we've been at, our residents here have been at a slight disadvantage, because I think the numbers are that, what, 60-40 basically? 60% of this tax will be paid from outsiders and 40% will be paid from township residents, if that's still the rough numbers. And I think we've had some headwinds, financial headwinds, that we're now going against with regard to the extra cost that is be associated on the township side for the ambulance, the increased contributions that we annually make to all of our three fire companies, well deserved, but every year it goes up and up. So not to enact this tax, I think, is a huge mistake. That's my feeling.
Okay. Anybody else wish to weigh in?
And Mr. President, just to remind me again, as the budget stands today, the difference between incorporating the service tax and not, in terms of the average household,
It's
is
$23.
20,
$23, right?
23.
$23, and that I actually have it here somewhere, that 5.3% increase that then goes up like 2%.
I didn't do that math, I don't know.
So that would become like a 7% increase. Any other questions or again, we have a chance, if we vote in favor tonight, we do have a chance to revisit it, which is what we did
I'll
last
just make
year.
my comment that I will vote for it tonight, but I will reconsider, and I've done that every time, and I voted against it, but every year I kind of get closer to it, because I still see, like what Pete's saying, that, our service, requirements are drastically, outgunning, other types of expenditures that we have, so we'll see. But it's important that we at least, I think, vote in favor of it tonight, and then we can reconsider it in a month or so.
And I do want to clarify, since we have Flowertown Fire Company out there, you're not the root of you guys get 4% more every year, which is a 5% increase. So we're ahead of the game with you. It's the ambulance we now have to pay for ambulance service, and we did the right thing. We're excited about that. We actually, in the budget, have assumed, had pretty aggressive assumptions on the ambulance. Our deal with the ambulance is they get paid for the first, is it 5 years? How long is that equipment thing? First 5 years, they get paid $60,000 a year from us, and then another $60,000 for the equipment, but we can offset $60,000 of that through a fund drive that they do, and they have a very good fund drive that we think probably will, it has a value proposition to it. We think that when that gets rolled out, it probably will recoup that $60,000. And in the first version we saw of the budget a couple weeks ago, we assumed none of that. Now we're assuming all of that. So we're all going to be motivated to make sure that works. But those costs are still there, and it's a challenge. The debt service, when we built the new complex, we had, and again, I don't have the numbers in front of us, but it was about $600,000 in debt service. And we have phased that in over 3 years, and we've been pulling out of the rainy day funds to make that increase not go up. And this is the final piece of that increase. So there's an increase in debt service, even though the debt service has been there all along. That's one and done, but that number's in there. That's because we've got to pay off we have about a $10 million obligation on this complex. So that we can, at the next meeting, go through some of that. I have all the analysis. We're still trying to figure out if there's a way we can sharpen our pencils and make the increase a little less. We'll know in a minute, or we probably won't know in a minute whether local service tax will be part of that. Are there any other comments people want to make? Okay, well then at this point, we are still in the public hearing. The Board of Commissioners will consider enactment of the proposed ordinance as part of the business meeting of November 14th, 2018, later this evening, which will be in about 60 seconds. So at this point, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing and reconvene the business meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Please record a unanimous vote. So we are now back, and we're still on this ordinance, and I will now make that motion. I move that the Board of Commissioners enact ordinance number 957, an ordinance that amends the Springfield Township Code, Chapter 100, Taxes, to establish a new Article 7 entitled Local Service Tax. That is my motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
So that's a 6-1 vote. It does not mean it's a done deal, but it means it will be in the budget that we will talk about at our next workshop meeting. Just as a point of order, the way this typically works, if you're very interested in the budget, is that we meet on a Monday-Wednesday cycle. And so those Monday meetings, what is it, the 10th and 12th of December?
Yes.
For the budget, there's a lot of paperwork, and it's kind of complicated for us to change things in the middle, so we will probably work this out on Monday night and figure out, are there enough votes for the local service tax? Maybe debate it. Are there changes to the budget that have come up between now and then? That will be covered but we won't vote because we don't vote in that meeting, but we need to figure it out then so that we have everything written right for the meeting and so that it will pass. Well, that's sort of the long and the short of it. Last year, I think what we did was we actually just set up the motion so that we could vote on each of them. But we will figure that out. But the point of this is that if you have opinions, either talk to us before that, or the debate is more likely to be on Monday night than Wednesday night when it's kind of hard to change. That's all I have. At this point, we are open for final public comment.
Giuseppe Monticelli, Ward 72. Some of this was discussed on Monday night. It is primarily to be important for having this on the public record. I would be in favor of having a evaluation done of having school zones set up from end of Enfield Elementary, where the ending of the school zone is now, all the way up to the ending of the high school, as this would be paramount to safety of students that travel.
Yeah, that's done.
That's done?
We will do that. The background is there were concerns about why do we not have on Paper Mill Road, why do we not have a school zone in front of the high school and the middle school? And we will be petitioning PennDOT for their approval on that, which is as much as we can do.
Okay.
The reason it's not being voted on is we don't need to vote on it. But we gave direction to you to ask.
Right.
Is that correct? Yeah, so we agree with you, but that just doesn't reach the point. Now, if they say yes and we can do it, then that would be something we'd vote
That'd
on,
be
because that's a
something
law
different.
change.
Yep. Okay, just want to make sure that's on the record.
No, it's good, and it's good to flag that to people.
It has to be on the record because some people don't know how
Yep.
for you request the
Yep.
recordings of the workshop meetings.
Right.
So my second public comment would be, this township needs to relay this on Monday night. You need to look at and evaluate body cams for the local PD. Not only is it for officers' safety, it is for the safety of the public. It is. It truly is, because right now, the system that I'm aware of that you have set up is not so good with the technology that we have today. You can have way more than the dash cams. Be reminded, those dash cams do not turn on if the officer puts his hood up while the light's on, and those dash cams don't go off unless the sirens are activated.
Correct.
So that needs to be evaluated, and I believe there are state grants for body cams here in the Commonwealth. Not 100% positive.
Jeff, could you just clarify the body cams and why we don't have them with the district attorney of Montgomery County?
Why don't you do that, Mike?
Okay.
So the district attorney of Montgomery County needs to approve the body cams. That is why none of the police departments in Montgomery County wear body cams currently. That doesn't mean to say that the municipalities support and don't support them. We're just not allowed to do that currently right now until the district attorney's office.
So to your knowledge, then, no police department within Montgomery County borders have body cams?
That's true.
Okay, I'm going to have to evaluate that further, but that's news.
Yeah, well, let us know what you find.
Yeah.
We did, and I will say we did, that's news to me, but because I'm not
that is
omniscient.
news,
But we did, during our executive session interviews, ask the candidates what they think. Now, they're all in the police academy and they're new, but they were
you can't
very
disclose that
excited.
because that's discreet information that was held in the executive session.
Well, I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
They were excited about, I don't think I've wrecked it, nor, they were excited about the concept of them, and for the same reasons you are, that, we fear false accusations, that someone's going to say something, and we want the truth out there. So there's
But then again,
support.
that could be bad for the township because someone could file a lawsuit about an officer, and which maybe it's a fabricated police statement, and it can help support the person who's alleging injury. So it goes either way. It could be in favor for the officer, it can help both sides, or it could be in favor for the plaintiff. So I did not know that. I would look into that, Mr. Maxwell. I greatly appreciate you raising that. That is all
Great,
my public
okay.
comment.
Well, thank you.
I'd just like to piggyback on what the young man just said. He kind of moved kind of fast into the police camera thing. But the board unanimously decided to look into making sure that we have the flashing 15-mile-per-hour school zone in between the elementary school, all the way past the middle school, and up and past the high school. As we progressed with that, I noticed that there were several postings on social media to address that. As the board moves forward in that direction through PennDOT, we will be having, or I will be offering through the township, public meetings in order to address their concerns as we progress. But since it's in its initial phase, we will, once that we've gotten past that particular phase of reaching out to PennDOT, there will be public meetings letting the public know how we are progressing to the end of making sure that our children are safe going to and from school. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. I take it that's the end of our public comment. At this point, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. President, I've got
Go ahead.
two things I wanted to touch on real quick. One, and we did talk about this briefly on Monday night as well, but there's been no other issue that I've heard more consistently from residents in Ward 6 than on the increase in their cost of living associated with the sale of our sewer system. And I just want to acknowledge that when we do talk about the budget, at the end of the day, we're talking about is sort of the cost of living in this township and the services and sort of the community we want. And when I think about over this past year, again, the comments and the concerns that I've experienced the most from residents has been on that topic. And I think that it's a debate that can be had, and I think it's an important debate to have regarding the pros and cons of that sale. But I just want to at least acknowledge to the residents that those concerns have been heard, and they're certainly kind of in the forefront of my mind when we talk about and we think about the cost of living in this township moving forward. So I did want to mention that. And also, next Tuesday, the 27th, we'll have a meeting in this room regarding a sort of, or excuse me, two weeks from now, on the 27th, bringing sort of new life into a community town watch program. We might call it more of a community watch, but it will be a partnership between the Springfield Police Department and residents, and ways that we can work together on partnering to make our neighborhood safer, and sort of different things that we're going to be encouraging both sides to do. So we'll have some information that will come out from the township on that, but I would love to encourage anyone interested in the Community Watch program to come on the 27th at 7.
Okay.
Thank you.
Writing that down. Okay. Last chance. Okay, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Do we have a second? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. We are adjourned.
All right.
All right, give me the keys, Pete.
There is no key.